See who comes in. Nobody comes in. May not be a very long stream. So we're doing a little happy hour right now. Might have to do happy hour by myself. That's always fun. Welcome everybody. Hope everybody's having a good night. I wasn't on earlier. Had some running around to do. We had to go. And where did we have to go? Oh, we had to go to Shoppers. I haven't had a sip yet. I didn't remember what the hell I was doing today. Hi, Dana. Um, had to do some posting. Had to go to the post office and had to go post some stuff. So we did that, and then we went to the park. Took Mateus to the park for a bit. Came home. By that time, it was time for lunch. Way past lunchtime, and yeah, it's amazing when you can't just go here like whip, 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 and you have to go cruising around in a bus. And so it wasn't that, it wasn't that bad. I mean, we had to wait here and there, whatever. But yeah, did our thing, came home, so yeah. So I decided to come on tonight, couple things, talk a little bit about some of the energies that are coming up, but also I just wanted to cycle of the planets. Where am I? What do I want to? Let me get my thoughts here. Is a couple things is about turning 60. I want to talk a little bit about that tonight. I'm putting it down as happy hour. I'm not going to keep it. And a few of the other shenanigans that are going on. And I already saw people starting to post about the MPOX coming out in that's happening right now. Got to figure out dinner. Oh, Steve did. Oh, well, he did peas yesterday. He boiled peas with dumplings, like he rolls. Anyways, he does dumplings, and my kids love it. And my kids love it. So, and then he did a stew with some stewing. I know it was bone with a lot of beef on it. Beef bone. That's what he did. And so he did a stew with the beef bone this evening. And then he's always one to, and that's the whole thing. It's like he likes to make sure that he has his meat prepared for the next day. So he, what are you doing? Just stop. So he did a thing with the chicken wings and stuff. So, yeah, just something very simple, and then a salad. So we had salad stuff. So I made a salad, and yeah. So yesterday was baked potatoes with chicken, and did a baked potatoes with chicken and veggies, which was nice. And that's always a nice little treat. So there's some ideas for you for dinner. So So today, the patterns and stuff today, I think there's some radical shifts that are going on and that we have to deal with, and that we're already starting to see some of these radical shifts coming out in the world around us. For things happening in the Middle East to what's happening in Ukraine, Russia, and to what's happening here and the WHO and their shenanigans of what's coming up. And I feel like, with that beautiful moon in Capricorn, it's about paying attention. Paying attention to, and I wrote down, shut up and listen. Shut up and listen to what, you know, what others need, or even what you need, is very important. So having that, and that Neptune fogginess is still definitely there. So I know for myself, I've been having some crazy disturbing dreams, and just weird dreams. And sometimes I'm not sure if they're omens or if it's just a dream. So just some really, really weird ones I've been having, some really disturbing ones. So it's just, I have to figure out what to do with the dreams, what to do with the dream, right? So And I feel like, the other transitioning, because this is a great time, I keep getting self-compassion messages. Ooh, beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Definitely. Definitely. Having, because I mean, with everything that's coming in and Mercury retrograde, and Mercury just went back into Leo, definitely about compassion and having that self-compassion, because there is a lot of information that's coming in. And there's some very powerful, you know, powerful, I'm going to say, energies emerging, a lot of love energies that are emergency and emerging, and finding the de-stressing of it. And especially when we have the Mercury going back into Leo, about de-stressing. And we have, with the sun at 23 degrees, the eagerness of wanting that, the eagerness of trying to find compassion in a world that feels like it's gone bonkers, right? And I feel also, with that Mercury going from Virgo, it's not eager to deal with situations and problems. And it's just, Mercury retrograde in Virgo is just a bitch, right? It's really bringing out a lot of craziness. So it's a real bitch type of energy. And so coming into Leo sort of is going to soften it up a bit, but you're still going to have the very, very typical Mercury retrograde with shit going sideways for you. But there's this subconscious blocks, and clearly, trying to break through a lot of the subconscious blocks that we're getting. And a lot of that has to do with love and expression and getting your ego in check. So a lot of people, even yourself, might find that you have an overinflated ego right now. And that has to do, I mean, we just coming with that Mars and Jupiter tension. We're just getting over that tension, the brakes on, trying to go, we wanting to go, we're wanting to do it all at once, but it's sort of like you're I got like your foot on the you instead of putting your foot on the clutch, you put your foot on the brake, and you put the foot on, then your other foot on the accelerator. What's just happening? So this is about passion is virtue, to be patient, be willing to move forward, having that longer period, reviewing subconscious stuff, right? And is this good? Is this good for me spiritually? Is this the best spiritual path? And there's going to be, I feel, not just one door, two doors. It's like allowing for several doors to open, allowing for different things to come forth for you and different ideas, and not just take the first one. And because sometimes if you just take, the first one, well, this is the only thing I'm going to get, might as well just take it. But with the subconscious stuff is this, trying to figure this out, but it's also allowing other things, other, opportunities and ideas to start showing up, and looking at the tons of different synchronicities that could be coming in for you at different times. And with Saturn squaring Venus, this could be an illusion, making it, your mind's thinking, oh, am I making this all up? Is this all bullshit? And so this is about, especially because Saturn isn't very strong right now. He's retrograde and he's in Pisces, so he's not very strong. So there's this wanting to get through. And, you know, Saturn has been so strong from 2018 to 2023. He's in Capricorn doing his shit. I'm in here. Then he's in Aquarius doing his shit. This is, I mean, two signs that he basically rules. Now he's in Pisces. He's in detriment. He's not getting the full oomph. So it's like that, being on show, being on the top of your show, and then all of a sudden you're not. You're fallen from grace. You're at the bottom now. So this is about, um, finding that oasis, and it may not be it. You're thinking this is it, this is going to be it, but you got to be honest and you got to be transparent with ourselves, and thinking it is, this badness or better or eagerness. So patience is needed right now for yourself. And it just feels so detrimental and so heavy with it all. it's finding those different, synchronicities, different energetic lines that are coming in a world that's going bonkers, right? Totally bonkers. And it's you know, I watch Katie Holmes, and it's like batshit bonkers Britain. She talks about, well, I think we're batshit bonkers Canada. You know, this is or US. I mean, just the craziness of everything. And there's a really good show if you want to spend some time, and it's with Leo King, and he's talking with a woman, and she's a doctorate of history, of English history, and they're talking about history in the stars. It's on YouTube. He posted on YouTube this time, and it's about 4 hours long, but I mean, you just it is interesting. You can watch it in doses if you want to, but it gives you a lot of information about even what I've been talking about a lot of the alignments that are happening right now throughout history, and how they're playing out right now. In their discussion last night, it was like, where Anne is her name. Excuse me, I have to take a sip. Just hang on. Ooh, that's not too bad. A little bit on the sweet, tangy side. Um, I was given this. I don't know if you guys have ever drank this one. Whew. Okay, it's called Cupcakes. Enjoy with a burger, truffle. Yeah, I can see with a burger. This would be very good with a burger and truffle fries. Definitely with the truffle fries. Oh, well, that's gonna go down very slow. Um, oh, this is where it's like, not to get back on my train of thought after talking about the wine and having a sip, and just like, woo. Um, Talking about like through history. So we're going through the times of 1530. So the 1530s was King Henry VIII. And King Henry VIII was really about radical change in that time. And changing the rule of law, changing where if you're not going to do it my way, I'm going to make an example of you. That's when they would quarter people, and then quartering people was a thing to, you would be quartered, and then you'd be sent to all ends of the nation to tell people, well, this is what's going to happen to you if you don't listen to me. So we're seeing that happen again. They're not quartering people, but they're making examples. If you're just standing there watching something I told you weren't allowed to watch, bad, you're going to jail. So making example of people, and that's being, if you're going to speak out and be the heretic, because the heretic laws were very strong during that time, especially in Holland. The heretic laws coming out is that we are going to make sure we're going to make an example of you. So don't you speak out. You speak only what I tell you to say. So here we have this transpiring again. And then also that of what during the 1860s. The 1860s was the Civil War, starting of the Civil War. It was the election of Lincoln. Nobody liked Lincoln. There was a lot of changes happening in Canada at that time as well. So a lot of changes, a lot of disruptions happening out, people trying to find their truth, and people finding their truth. And a lot of times in finding their truth, if you notice, a lot of it had to do in finding their truth in the name of God. My God said, this is what you need to go do because I have been chosen by God. Now, in 1860, the Southern believed it was their right to own others. It was their godly right to own others. And it's in 1530, it was Henry VIII's godly right to say, I am the king chosen by God because I am the almighty King Henry VIII. So my right, my laws go first, right? So we have these energies that are coming in again, where a lot of things are being done in the name of God. And even when we look at the alliances that are happening right now, most of the alliances that are happening because they believe in the same God. They believe in the same thing. And they're trying to enforce that. Now, over the last several years, what we have seen that enforcement of what it is to do with religion had to do with science, right? You have to do this because I said so, because the science said so. So it was like, in the name of science, I'm telling you. So that's science, because especially with a lot of energy coming in Aquarius, is very scientific, having to bring in science instead of God. So bringing that in, and we're going to be seeing, like, since Pluto in less than 15 days, it's like the countdown of Pluto going back into Capricorn. Ah! It's like putting the X's on it, but it's not the good. Anyways, Pluto going back into Capricorn, bringing everything up that we were just going through in 2022. Right? So we're seeing little things like the mpox coming in. They're calling it the mpox because they don't want to call it the other name, because it's like they think it's racial. It's you can't say the word. Um you can't say the ooh, 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 ooh with a pox. Um anyways, crazy world we live in. But that coming out, and listeria is a, and it's horrific. Listeria is a bacterial infection that you can get, you could die from, within the cold meats, and that's in the States, and it's a high end cold meat distributor that found this bacteria that's in it. So anyways, there's that's going out, and it's just, you just got to shake your head, right? So we have these frequencies, this energy that's coming in. And just like what Anna was saying here, it's like coming in and talking about the self-compassion, coming in and finding what we are expect, we expect the love, but we still have to do a lot of the work. And I find that, yeah, we're like thinking that, okay, is all we're doing here is repeating all this freaking history over and over and over again. But the difference is, with this energies that are coming in, is that we haven't had where so many timelines are just shooting in at once and getting us, basically it's almost like getting us to clear it, getting us to heal it. And in having this have happen, it is where we are finding that we really have to look at how we need to heal ourselves, and what is that healing that we need within our own selves, and what we need to do to create the love and the balance that we need to have within our own selves. Because we can't, it's like going out and saying, I'm gonna help you and I have a broken leg. Well, I gotta fix my broken leg. I gotta get it into a cast. I gotta get it, set and whatever, before I can, go over there and give you a hand, right? And that's the thing, is that that's what we need to start looking at. That's the compassion that we need to have within our own selves, because there's so much coming in on the table. And we got to find that what is on the table. We got to find that. We got to find that love. And knowing that, to realize, that nothing's perfect. Nothing's perfect. And everything is like a big crazy. I think it was Bob Dylan wrote it. Bob Dylan wrote a song, and it was called something crazy blue, or getting mixed up with the blue, or mixing up with the blue lines. And the reason why he wrote that song, don't ask me why I know this, okay? I just do. Is that because he was taking painting lessons at the time. And blue is one of those colors that's very hard to mix, to get the right shade, to get the right variance in the color and stuff like that. Blue is a very difficult one. And so getting mixed up with the blue lines. And I feel like sometimes that's what's happening, is that we're trying to find everything, and we're getting all mixed up, right? Instead of coming in and saying, okay, we just gotta put it out there, instead of trying to devise and find the perfect spot or the perfect way of doing it. And some things longs to jump, And I feel it's that we need to help to build up our plans of what it is that we desire and what it is that we want to do. And sometimes we feel it's overwhelming and it's too much, and we just got to take a breath, right? We got to take that breath. We got to allow ourselves to find that groundedness where we can find that stability, in what we are doing, because there's distress. There's a with you know with everything. And the beautiful part, there is a trine in the sky, which is very beautiful, with the sun trining Chiron, and that's the strength with the challenge. Finding what is on the table, finding that with love, but knowing that sometimes, we just can't do everything that's on the table right now. It's like wanting the sunrise and it's midnight. You can't have the sunrise at midnight, unless the midnight sky, unless you live up in the Northwest Territories, right? But I mean, if you're waiting for it, it's like, okay, we got to do things. We know when it's going to come, but we got other things we got to do. We can't just sit around and wait for the next 6 hours for it to appear. We got to do the things that we need to do, and then we can be there for when it does happen. And that's why it's so important for us, not to look at radical changes. This isn't a time, even though it feels like we are having to do radical changes, I feel it's also really coming back to some real basic um, frequencies to get us to be honest and transparent with ourselves, and thinking it is a bad and there's something better and there's eagerness there. So that's where the patience come in, because we can get overly anxious with it all and overly thinking. And plus, I mean, we have Saturn, um, Neptune, Mercury that are retrograde right now, and Pluto that are retrograde right now. We'll have Uranus going retrograde in the next week or so. And this is bringing in, okay, what are the things that we have done in this world that we have to work on a little bit more with? Because this is a time, when things start to go retrograde, is a time to say, okay, we can't race ahead anymore. We got to take a moment, breathe, and start looking at the things we do need. And especially when we have all the outer planets in retrograde, will be in retrograde. I mean, Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus. When Uranus goes, that's our subconscious. So all of these outer planets are getting us to really look deeply within inside ourselves, to see the blocks that are there. Sometimes we're not sure what the blocks are. And it could be just in the way we say things, or the way, the constant, what is our constant mantra that we're saying within inside ourselves, that we need to sort of reformulate it. So if we're having a lot of self-doubt, is changing that self-doubt into, oh my God, oh, this is crazy. It's like, oh my God, this is love. Changing the one word to love, bringing the love back in, so that we're not all tangled up with the blue. So we're able to flow more within it all instead of getting tangled up with it all. Crazy, man. Yes. And we're heading into a world that is aging. We have China has a huge aging population. Japan has a huge aging population. The United States is starting to have an aging population, and same with Canada with it. And this is where, the changes start to happen. I feel 40 and 50, I think you guys are pretty good. It might not feel like it. I know a lot of my little 40-year-olds and 50-year-olds out there, they're like, oh my God, I'm going through perimenopause. Yeah, I know. But you know what? Wait till you're fucking 60, because that's when the shit starts hitting the fan. By the time you're 70, I feel it's like, you're like, okay, whatever, kind of thing. We know things are really going to go tits up then. But at 60, it's like you're really starting to feel how things are changing. and getting a more not saying you're not doing it at 40 or 50, but I'm saying that this is really these energies that are coming in for us, where yeah, we're going through some heavy changes. The world's going through heavy changes. So as we're going through all of these heavy changes, we find a majority of the population is going through it. Birth rates are down. We're finding, death rates are up. We're finding that people are getting older, and it's not like years ago when people had 4 or 5 kids, and yeah, people would have grandpa and grandma or grandma live with them. That wasn't unusual, but it was where you had more kids running around than you did older people with walkers running around. And this is all part of it. So this is really learning how to find a new way of living, a new niche that's really never been lived before, really never have been before, as everything is changing, as everything is going into new and different vibrations. And each age, like 40, you're going through like a nodal return, an opposite nodal return. And at 50, you're starting to head into a time where you're knowing that the frequencies are changing, but you're still that's where I think you're really hitting the menopausal. That's where a lot of women cycle ends. So their cycle ends at that age of between 50 and 55. Some women go to 57. God help you. Like, who the fuck wants a period at 57? Sorry. Like, give me a fucking break. When I was 50 and my period stopped between 50, I think, no, 51. Yeah. When I was 50 and then turned 51. No, I turned, yeah, started, it was weird, and then I had to wait because you have to wait a year and a day for your period, and then your period's done. If your period starts up again after that, go get checked out because there's something else going on. Um, it's those changes that are happening within your body, right? And embracing it. When you're 60, this is when the changes are really happening, but you are noticing things a lot more. Like it is life becomes, you don't want it to become a challenge, but life becomes a challenge where it is like, okay, what is it that I need to, you know, create, even though I still think I'm 40, but my body's my 40-year-old's up here with my mind, my body's back here. So it's looking at those changes that are happening. And I think this is a discussion that needs to be happening, and a discussion that needs for women to look at, because there's a lot that's goes on within hormonally within the body, and the changes that are going on in the body. I know some women do need hormone replacements. No judgment, no judgment, right? And the thing is that that's fine if that's what you need. There are herbs and stuff that you can utilize for to help you through hormonal changes. I don't believe in mixing them all. I believe in trying one at a time. But um, to give you that, to give you the aid that you need as things go, um, as your body really starts to change even more, and your body stops producing a lot of things, even though you want to replace it in different techniques and different ways. There's many tutorials out there now. Instead of giving young girls at 20 and 30 tutorials on how to do makeup, now the biggest tutorials that are coming out, especially on YouTube and stuff, are tutorials for 50, 40, and 50-year-olds and 60-year-old women, how to do your makeup, because you got to do your makeup differently. Look at this. Look at my eyebrows, because I mean, all of a sudden, there you go. At least it looks somewhat balanced. Your eyebrows start to disappear. There's lines there that weren't there when you were 20. There's a chin. Like sometimes I just want to go like this, and there. Okay, I'm young again. Push it back. Things you just go like this. Get rid of the wrinkles. Uh, a lot of things start to really change within yourself. And I find this is when a lot of people like get knee replacement, hip replacement. Um, People find out they have high blood pressure, uh, diabetes comes in. So different ailments start to come in. So I feel like this is really a time to look at how can you really take care of yourself in a very healthy, positive way. Now I know some of you are totally health like no, I'm taking 100% natural, which is absolutely fabulous. But I feel like there's a balance between the health and Western medicine. And I know we have a hard time trusting that Western medicine, but I feel like that there's a balance that comes in there. Um, I mean, I'm not going to trust a Reiki practitioner with a hip transplant, you know. If you need your hips done, if you cataracts, yes, there's a lot of vitamins and stuff you can take to help. But if you get really start going blind or start going, you're not going to trust, a holistic healer with your eyes. I mean, some people do, but you know, there's just so many so many things there that we can bring in and bring in the balance. And I think a lot of things that are starting to change within us. And as the world gets older, we are going to find that the ones, especially with the Pluto Virgo ones, which I am one. I'm after the Pluto Leos. The Pluto Leos are the ones after World War II. And then came the Pluto Virgo. And then the Pluto Libra ones were the ones coming in the late 70s and 80s. And they were the ones um, about relationship and changes with relationships. The Pluto Virgo came in about service and how can we be of service and do the things and, just go out there and get things done. That's why you see the Gen X's are just like, fuck it, we're just going to go do it kind of thing. And then you got the Pluto Libras, which are the ones who have the information, have the talent, have a lot of gifts, but they are the ones for bringing in the balance and some kind of balancing within the world. And then we have the Pluto in Scorpio, which are the millennials. And the millennials with that Pluto and Scorpio are really trying to devise and still trying to find their way. They're the ones that are right now trying to find a job or um, going through divorce, going through a lot of changes in their lives, um, trying to find that. You have them who are in their late 40s or coming into their 40s and into their 30s. And then you got the Pluto Sagittarius. So changes that are happening right now, and especially for the majority of the population right now, 40, 50, and 60. And that's why you're finding, or that's why you're discovering that you're seeing more things about menopause. More women are talking about menopause than ever before, and plus you could be just targeted for that because the algorithm knows how old you are. So you're being targeted. But my daughter even noticed it, and she's, coming into her late 20s. So change is there. I mean, it's inevitable, not only for us as human beings, but it's inevitable for the world around us and the changes that are going in that are happening at this time. And as we are building up, especially to this full moon, and this full moon is going to be squaring off to Uranus in Taurus because it's a fixed signs square each other, immutable signs square each other, cardinal signs square each other, and have those oppositions. So you have this, T square that's coming in um, for this full moon. And this full moon is bringing in dramatic change. It's bringing in a change to help us to come into the new frequencies, which are the Aquarian frequencies. So with that moon, Pluto's still there. This is going to be, this full moon in Pluto, full moon in Aquarius with Pluto there. This is going to be really coming in and getting us to look at what are the transformation and changes we need to make for us within our own selves and the compassion that we need allowing ourselves to shine, because that's what Leo does. It shines. It wants to shine. It wants to bring you the love. And Mercury retrograde will be in there. And we really have to look at how we are coming into that and how we are balancing that within our own selves. And that's the challenge that we're in at this time. And sometimes we feel like, I don't want to do this anymore. And it's just too much. And it's just, all a bunch of bullshit, you know, when we're seeing a 15-year-old get 10 years in jail for being like, well, he was part of the riot, but he's 15. I know. Kids do stupid shit at 15. I don't think he should get 10 years. I think he should be in detention and get some reform in some way. But we also have a generation that are 15, 16-year-olds. These are the Pluto Capricorns that feel they don't have a future. The world's going to hell in a handbasket. They don't see it. They only see despair. They only see that, oh, well, the only way I can get ahead is if I pretend to be like that person over there because they're getting everything. Or it seems that way, that they're getting everything, right? And this is where the changes that come in, and we who are entering into this menopausal age, we are the wise one. We are the keepers. We are the holders of the energies and the frequencies to help those who can't help themselves, to be there when others can't be there. And this is going to be shown up within your own family. This is going to show up within your own community. And we're going to be seeing it within the world around us. And it's a big responsibility, I feel. It's something, because many of us who are in that bracket, and I'm going to go more with the ones who are in 60, and I have clients who are 65 and 70 who are really, really struggling. And these are people who've worked very hard in their life, but they're struggling not only financially, but they're struggling with health and health issues. Some of them, yeah, they might have taken the elixir, but some of them were either forced to take it because of a job situation, or because they were told by their doctor, and their doctor said, well, you're this age, you better take it. And so they were scared, and so they are having health, different issues and stuff that are going on like that. And I feel we're coming into a time, it's like, not to point fingers or blame those who did and those who didn't. It's coming to a place where, okay, we need to start working together. We're needing to start to create something that is more harmonious, whether that's in the message that we are promoting and putting out there, and in showing in our actions and showing up with love each and every day. And that's a huge vibration. Just for one person to show up in love, that vibration goes out to 10 people, whether you see them or not. It's just amazing. They've done studies where, with Reiki and with prayer, when they have somebody come in on a ward, and just come into an area and start to pray for the people. They don't know the people, they just start to pray. It's very similar to Ho'oponopono, and they just start to pray for the people on the ward. And they do that do that every day. They have people coming in at different hours, coming in and doing prayers, and just praying, just asking for healing on this ward, helping the people to do better in their life, to do better with their health and what have you. They found that there was an increase in recovery. Totally, just, and a lot of doctors, they'll like poo poo it, right? They'll say, oh, what does that have to do? Blah. But when they started seeing the studies of this, it's like, wow. And then they had the same thing happen when people would come in, and you would have Reiki healers come in on the ward, and they would go in and they would just be doing and doing Hanshe Se Shonen, Shokore Shokore Seiki Seiki, and sending out healing vibes to the whole ward. And they'd do that, and they'd have different Reiki people, Reiki practitioners come in at different times and do this. And they did this on different wards, right, in different areas. And what they found were either people were more responded to the medications that they were being given, recovery rates went up, and others who were needing to release or let go were finding more peace so that they can transition. And this is very powerful. That's why I say, when you come out with love, when you come out with, yes, we're frustrated, yes, many of us are overwhelmed, and we have taken on so much right now in our lives and going through a lot. Taking a moment and just, as I put on my post on today, it's like taking a moment and just praying for whoever needs it. Send out a prayer to all who needs it at this time. And just saying thank you and moving on is huge. It's huge. And with the frequencies that are coming in, and the frequencies that are coming in, especially with this full moon, it's going to be needed, because everything is going to start to heighten. This moon is pushing everything. If you thought you were on the edge, we're no longer on the edge. So know that things are being pushed over, things are being pushed. And this push means that we need to be even stronger in our faith, in our love, in our connections with our divine. This is very important, not only for ourselves, but in the world and the future of those around us. So, yeah, baby, it's crazy. I'm going to have another sip of wine. I do have wine here. Gotta say, that's going to go down. It's not the best. It's okay. I think it'd be better with cheese. I think I need to have some cheese and crackers with it, because it even says it's better with hamburger. But anyways, it was given to me, so God bless. Hey, someone's coming over and offering me a bottle of wine. I am not going to say no. Just saying. Someone comes over and offers me some coffee. I am very kind, and I will say yes and thank you for what they bring me. So I never look a gift horse in the mouth. I'm just like, thank you. So yes, so I just open my arms to that. That's what I do. So tonight, I really want you all to really have a peaceful evening, and really come into a place of harmony within our lives. I know for myself, huge transitions are going on in my life, and I know many of you have reached out, and you have been so kind in offering prayers and offering me help and offering me love. I Oh, my dog. She's on my pillow. Get off my pillow. You're on my pillow. No. Off. Off. She's like, but I don't want to go off. You're on my pillow. Come here. Come here. Come on. Come on. Gonna come? There you go. This is my dog, and her name is Roxy. This is Roxy. And she's in heat right now. Aren't you? Yeah. She would love to have a glass of wine right now. Wouldn't you? Yeah. Yeah. You okay? I know. I know. It's not fun, is it? Is it? No. But it's okay. What's the matter? Okay. That's it. No more kisses. Mommy doesn't like kisses. So there you go. You want to talk to the people? You want to talk to the people? See the people? You okay? She needs to be groomed. Definitely needs to be groomed. So, but I wouldn't take her to a groomer's right now. She probably wouldn't be too kind to a groomer right now. So, She just wants to be, yeah, she just wants to be loved, don't you? It's hard having, yes, I know. Yeah, it is. Yeah, she's very mellow right now until she hears something upstairs, and then she's the devil. Then she becomes the devil dog, don't you? You become the devil dog when you hear something upstairs or somebody comes to visit. Yeah, but you love Dana, don't you? You love Dana. Oh, you and Dana are friends. Yes, you love Dana. Dana loves to cuddle her. So she loves that. So, okay. Okay, you gonna go down? Yeah. Oops. My chair gets caught on the rug. So, anyways, that's the dog. That's the crazy dog that you probably hear barking in the background. So, but as I was saying, things are crazy. Um, and it's, for me, it's trying to figure out new and different ways of, and that's where, when it comes to the synchronicities and things coming in, it's like not choosing just one. It's like going through different ideas and seeing different options of what I can be doing, and how I can create more of what I want to create, or be more present in what I want to do. So going through different ideas. And I think that's what we have to do. Not just stick to one or two that come through the door. Be open to as many as we can, and as they unfold for us all, and just not get stuck on just, oh, I have to do this one. This is what I want to do. Mm-mm. Even though things are coming up and things are heightening, but there's heightening up in such beautiful light, right? So the heightening of light and love is there, and it's heightening just as quickly as the negative is heightening up. And but the baddies have to be shown. We're seeing the baddies, right? And I don't trust a lot of them that are in the news. I don't even trust our premier. Like, I don't trust her. People ask me about her. I'm just like, you know what? She's a politician, and she's out for herself. Yeah, she's doing a lot of good, but she's out for herself, right? Eyes wide open. Yes, definitely. You got to have your eyes wide open. And she's one who's out for her, and that's fine. That's, being I could not be a politician. I'd probably get kicked out. Mary, you're not allowed to come in until you learn how to talk properly. Because I'd be telling a lot of them just to fuck. Like, are you fucking serious? Did not read this report? You can't talk about that report. Why not? Like, you're not talking about this is poison. Yeah, I'd have a hit on me and probably get shot or something. But it's a clown show out there. It's a clown show. It's a total clown show. I heard a report tonight. This is a funny side note. One of the Secret Service people that was supposed to be watching Trump, he's at a speaking engagement, anyways, and at the time of his speaking engagement, she had to go breastfeed her baby. You have a job. You're CIA. You're Secret Service, for Christ's sake, and you're breastfeeding. You couldn't have pumped. You couldn't have, like, couldn't ask for another detail. But here you are with with a former president of the United States who was assassinated. But it wasn't just the baby she brought in. She brought in other people, her family members, totally out of protocol. It's under investigation right now, but we don't want to talk about it. That's a freaking clown show. That's just like, I've never heard of something like that before. I was just howling. I just thought that was the funniest. The whole thing was a setup, right? So it's just the craziness of it all. Like, it's amazing. Do you know that there are more Secret Service on Obama and the Clintons than there is on former President Trump, and he's running for president. Like, I'm just like, "Okay, you guys really want him the fuck out of the way." Because, I mean, this is it's just crazy. It's just crazy. I just, like, sit back and I'm just like, "Oh," and my husband always tells me, "Don't marry, never mind. Never you mind, girl. Don't get into it. Never you mind. They're just crazy." Just never you mind. But, yeah, it's just a crazy clown show, with the Prime Minister of England right now. Two-tier stammer, they think they're calling him. Um, just crazy, crazy. I mean, and that's why prayers are definitely needed. That's why we have to stand up. And everybody's sitting there waiting for what Putin's going to do. Like, this is like the calm. Like, this is the calmness before the crazy. Did you see the Trump Secret Service girl? Oh, Barbie on TikTok that couldn't find her. I know. Like, and she was like, my Barbie went out with G.I. Joe. My Barbie would have been able to holster that gun very easily because she went out with G.I. Joe. She knew what the fuck to do. The lowest paid actor. But it's crazy. Well, she was on another detail. Like, she was on another detail too. So they've spotted her on other details. So it's yeah, it's a show, but there's such an underlying negative current that's there as well. That's happening with all of this and the sinisterness that's unfolding with it. And we're seeing it. We're seeing it. I mean, even with our prime minister got he was in Brantford and in Branton, sorry. Um and he at this high-end hotel, well, whatever is high end there, I don't think it's very anyways, high end. He had everybody on his detail, they all stayed in luxury. They stayed in it in the top tier of the hotel. They didn't, it's like your detail. Why the fuck are you staying in a fucking suite that's costing X amount of money on their taxpayer dollar? I don't know. Yeah. And they're no, they're not bothering to hide it anymore. They're not. But that's when things are getting crazier. Like, evil is not, if they're gonna do something, they're gonna tell you, right? That's sort of the law of the universe. And they've been telling us for the longest time, this is what we're gonna do, this is what we're gonna do. But they know that people are so that they're like, yeah, 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 yeah. I just need to feed my kids. I need to go to work. I need to do this, right? Brampton, not Burlington, Brampton, that's right. You know what I mean, like, I can't talk sometimes. But he was there, and then he got the police couldn't even handle the protesters out there. There were Palestinian protesters out there, right? Uh, JT. Yeah, a lot of them. Um, but the thing is that because when you start coming out with truth, when you start coming out and saying things, that's when people don't wanna hear you. They don't want you um, to be there, right? They have to say it, yeah. Like, they have to tell us. They have to tell you, they have to tell you. And they've been telling us for years. They've been saying things for years to us, from the pandemic to everything, right? And we're gonna find, as Pluto goes, we'll be in Capricorn from September till November, God help us. And then Mars is gonna be going retrograde. So it's going to be such a crazy mess that's going to be coming up over the next few months and then into 2025 that we are, with Pluto going back into Aquarius, the scientific. So we're going to hear more about vaccinations, we're going to hear more. I shouldn't say that word, elixir. We're going to hear more about the elixir and how to get, more elixir. So, and that's going to be happening, and Pluto's going to be there for the next 20 years. The other part too is that with Pluto being in Aquarius, Aquarius the humanitarian, and being the humanitarian, so we are going to see the extremes of a humanitarian, right? We're going to see the extremes of it. Oh, I can't say that word on Charlene. It's the M pox. I can't say ooh pox. I can't do that. So, but we're going to hear more of that. And the thing is that the one that's coming in that I feel is the real sort of plan, the real thing is one that has to do with the lungs. And that's going to be a doozy of a one that's going to come in about the lungs. So there's going to be a huge one that's going to come in about the lungs. So something coming in about the lungs. And that has to do with Neptune being at the end and Neptune retrograding. And then as it comes back and goes forward again, it's not that, when Neptune goes into Aries doesn't mean that we're out of clear waters. I mean, Neptune and Saturn don't conjunct in Pisces. They conjunct in like a parasite, yeah, coming in. And it is going to be infectious. Infectious. And that's when Neptune and Saturn meet in Aries next year. And when Saturn and Neptune meet in Aries next year, that's another crazy kettle of fish. So as I say, we're going through the 1530s. So you got to think of what King Henry VIII was like. He was a real dickhead. I mean, he was very progressive, but he wasn't even supposed to be king. It was his brother Arthur who was supposed to be king, but he died earlier. I think frequencies devices like Riff can stop all of that. Yeah, I agree too. I think that would be, that doing that is a real positive thing as well. Definitely. And there's a lot of different new healing modalities that are coming through with light healing. But it's to get them out there, right? And to get this is Christina, by the way. Hello, Christina. This is getting that information out there, but also getting it into the mainstream. Being into the mainstream, it's not going to happen for several years. Like it's going to take a lot of pushing, and that's also part of where Pluto and Aquarius is going to come in, because new ideas, new thoughts, new thought is coming in. But we're also going to have the extremists along with that, and that's what Pluto does. He brings in the extremes of things, the craziest of things. We just went through it for the last 15 years when with our government. We're seeing the extremes of the government. He's the disruptor, bringing in the disruption of the whole thing. And we're also going to be having, with that extremes with our money system. So, and then with Neptune or with Uranus in Taurus, has a change with our money system. How are we dealing with the money? How are we creating that money? So the changes that are coming forth. That's why, I mean, you talk to many others who aren't spiritual will tell you to look at having visas to go to other countries, whether it's Thailand or other countries like that. And not necessarily that you're going to use them, but you have them in case you have to flee. And that's the same thing with if anybody has um children who are of age to go into the army. I mean, they're setting up all over the place, well, especially in Ontario and into the Maritimes, to getting people to join, right? Yeah, they want digital currency. They really want that digital currency, and trying to push it. That's all about Uranus in Taurus, because Taurus has to rules money and personal money. Personal money. That's what Taurus is. So we have this whole about personal money. What is my personal money? That's why it's so important to continue to use, just when you go out, say to 7-Eleven, or you go to the corner store, to use you know um pay by cash and stuff like that. And it's important. Well, the conscription is coming in. I mean, they're already starting it in the United States, and they're going to be starting it. I mean, you're starting to see them all over the place and setting up. And because enrollment rates are low, so it'll eventually come in where you're going to have to, they're going to start conscripting. And that's going to be from the ages of 18 to 27, but they can go all the way up um, to their 30s. Now, the other part too is I've I've heard other people other people say, of if you do have is not to have a digital footprint is really it's and which is difficult for the kids that age to have a digital footprint, because the digital footprint, they can find you. And if you have a dual citizenship, and if they call you up, and let's say you're American and you got a dual citizenship for Canada and the United States, they can call you up in the United States, right? Or if you got a dual citizenship for Britain, right? They can call you up into Britain. A lot of people don't realize that, right? Because you're a citizen there. So it's little things like that. So it's also, yeah, we want to be on a high frequency, but it's also to be aware of what's going on in this world, right? Being aware. And the more that we're aware, the more we have understanding, then we can start saying, okay, then I'm doing this way, I'm going here, this is what I'm doing, this is how I'm preparing. And the more we can start doing that, the stronger it'll be. Australia is going to have a very hard time doing the digital currency. Well, they're always the first to do shit like they're the experiment in the Commonwealth. Just saying. To go with the asylum thing, if it ever becomes an issue. Yes. I think I'm going to start my own. I often thought of buying a motel. And it's just a motel, just not a motel that anybody can just come live, but it's just a motel for those, you know, community. Creating that. There is a motel. There is actually one in O- Oregon that did that. Him and his wife, they started years ago in the 80s, and they bought this old hotel. And he says he was going to change it over, and he did. And he has beautiful like gardens and everything, um, even right down to their waste system and everything else like that. It's just crazy. Lots of saved TikToks of how my beliefs are not acceptable in Canada. Very much so. It's crazy. It's crazy. But here it is. Here we are in this world of transformation and changes, right? And Bates Motel. um, these transformation and changes that are coming through for us all. And and plus there is a huge aging population, with that, a huge aging population. So, when we look at the astrology, we look at we know that the Pluto Sages were the ones that were called up in 1778 and were called up in 1860. And they were the ones that, they were the ones that went to war. We know that it was the Pluto Libras were the ones that came in as the commanders. So those are the ones that were the Jeffersons and the George Washingtons, and those Pluto Libras were the ones that came in as the commanders and the leaders. The Pluto Virgos were we're like, fuck it, you guys just take charge, just make sure the wine's there, and I got the coffee and I got my cheese, I'm fine. So it's, yeah, all those changes that were, because I don't know, um right now, it's just crazy. I heard it's every 3 generations we go to war usually. um I can't remember what it's called, but it's an 80 to 84 year cycle, where and we're sort of going like after World War II was great. I mean, Pluto was in Leo, so things were very progressive. We wanted to get out there. We wanted to connect with people. We really wanted to grow. The suburbs, everybody was having children. People were making money, rum, chips, and chocolate. I'm good. Yes. These were the things that were growing, right? And as it went through, of course, there were changes. We had the Korean War that went through. After that, we had the Cold War, Vietnam. But those were crises and stuff like that. But we still had a net community. It was in the 60s that we started to see things change. That's when people, with psychologists, self awareness, having respect for oneself, and mental illness was really starting, being talked about and being discussed. And that's when there was a lot of experimentation with LSD, and LSD was legal back then in the 60s and 70s, where people were microdosing it all over the place. And the woke shit started, right? And then it happened, with the 70s, we had somewhat of a quite a recession and things, and a struggle for people. 70s was crazy. That was Chiron in Aries, which is Chiron in Aries now. You know, Terrible fashion. Just have to say, fashion in the 70s was fucked. I mean, I did not like brown corduroy pants. And then flared out. No, that wasn't my thing. Or tight striped brown shirts. Yeah, all the girls wore this, and crazy fluffy hair. Um, this is when porn was starting to take off. Like, porn was huge in the 70s. I mean, yes, we had porn before. I mean, Georgian times porn, that's a whole nother level. Everybody's fucking everybody. But I mean, you started seeing it in your face. Like, there was a lot of porn and stuff like that was coming up. I think whatever it is. Wait, this was coming out, right? And so we coming out in many ways. So we had porn. Porn was really big. Then the 80s came out, and here came Boy George. And Boy George just fucked everybody up, because he was just like, is he a boy? Is he a girl? I don't know. What do we say? What's going on? And then we find that Boy George was heroin. Heroin was the drug of choice, heroin and cocaine. Cocaine was still legal in the coming up into the late 70s and into the 80s. Heroin or cocaine was still somewhat legal. Marijuana was illegal, right? So everybody was doing fucking coke. So we have the 80s coming in, and that was just bringing in another set of craziness within the economy. We saw a bit of the economy do a bust then. um, we saw the rise of divorce. We saw people starting, equality for different marriages. That's, really, because women's lib started in the 70s, really took off in the 80s. Then the 90s hit. And the 90s was starting to bring in a lot of tech kind of stuff. Tech things were starting to come in. And that's where sort of the digital starting to come in, and Bill Gates, starting to do his thing, Steve Jobs doing his thing, and bringing in the tech industry, from learning how to do computers and the computer systems, and really promoting the digital age. And then the whole thing about the scare with the 2000 and the dot com, the plummet of dot com. But then it just took a resurgence, right? So it's amazing when you start looking at, as you say, the cycles, because how everything was building up, and looking at the buildup of where we are now and what that looks like, right? Microdosing LSD or shrooms is supposed to be quite healing. It is supposed to be quite healing, but it's microdosing, not taking people. I mean, Harvard University students used to have tea evenings, right? And the tea evenings where guys would go there and they would be doing LSD, and at Harvard, these great Harvard student men, you know. So, but that's where the CIA started to do a lot of um, doing the hotels in San Francisco and stuff like that. So, and no, yeah, well, it wasn't the shroom teas; it was the LSD and acid they were doing a lot of. But I'm not a druggie, honestly. I don't do drugs, but it was it's just some things are in my head for whatever reason. But here we are today, and we knew that like in 2017 when I really started to come out and doing my predictions, right? This is where coming out and giving people the information of the changes that were coming in and how commerce is going to change. The markets, I was telling people markets aren't going to be the same. People are now sort of coming out and going back to markets. They're looking for community, but there's going to be some strangeness that's going to come in. It's going to be very weird with the markets coming into the latter part of this year and going into 2025. And I think that has to do, well, I know it has to do with the war. It has to do with how people are um, not being able to spend. People won't have the money to spend. So a lot of people are going to be in not won't have the money to do the things that they want to do. There will be the people that do, of course. There's always those people that do have the money. Um, I don't think the barter system will prevail. People want it'll be there'll be some barter system, but I don't think it is going to be as big as what people think it's going to be. Um, there are going to be where people are still wanting to use money in some way, right? And because when it comes to certain things, bartering with friends and neighbors is great, but when you want to go further and start doing other things, like banks aren't going to go away, corporations are not going to go away, government is not going to go away. So this is where these things are not going to go away. They're going to change in different ways, in different formats, but they're not going away. That's why it's so important for people if you do have you know, the stock exchange is not going to go away. It's going to change in some ways, but it's not going to go away. So it's understanding how commerce works, how relationships work, how trade works. It's like oil and gas is not going to go away. We're still going to be needing it, right? We're still going to need it because that's the way we still are living in a world that people are going to interact and need to bring forth that exchange, right? And the thing is that it might be in small doses. Crypto's going to crash. Crypto's going to be, because the thing is with crypto, and it doesn't matter if you have it in your own wallet. The thing is, when I look at this is just by the astrology, you still have to have an exchange for it. Even those countries like El Salvador, who's doing, oh, we're only doing crypto, when they have to exchange that crypto into a currency to buy whatever they need to buy, right? So it's one of those things that, and plus if the system all goes down overnight, okay, like we've had where different things go down overnight, you can't do anything. That's why you need things that are tangible. Gold, silver are tangible. You need tangible items, right? Those things you can change. Like people want that. Even back with the gold rush, even back in 1860, people wanted to, okay, fine, you can give me a chicken, but I can't take that chicken and go get a knife, right? That person who wants, like if you're wanting to make it an exchange with me, yeah, I can cook that chicken up, but I need something that's going to be more sustainable than the chicken. I need something that's going to last me. So if I got a piece of gold, well, that gold can get me something that's going to take me further along the way than the chicken. So the barter system is going to be a little, and especially if I want something that's going to be a protection, you know, guns, bullets, knives, arrows, whatever it is, and things like that too. So it is the change is going to be something that, I mean, it's been slowly building, and we're starting to see the culmination of the build that is coming now. And the overwhelmness that is being presented to us within the world around us. And that's very, very interesting. So I'm going to pull a card for us all this evening. I have the full moon readings, so if you guys want to purchase a full moon reading, they're $40. Just let me know, and I'll put you on my list. And what the full moon reading is, and what I do with the moon readings, I record them. They're about 15 minutes, and I use your natal chart and the information that comes in with the full moon reading, and give you sort of an insight of what's going to be happening between the full moon and the new moon, and the frequencies and the energies that are coming in, along with a tarot reading. So that's what those are. An astrology club starts on September 9th for those who are interested in the astrology club. So we're starting that on the 9th. In the astrology club, we go through what the transits are and what the transits and what are coming through. We also talk about how that affects your chart and how that looks like in your chart. And we also will be talking about the eclipses, because the eclipses will be coming up too. Oh yeah, that's the other thing that's happening, the eclipses. That deserves another drink, that's for sure. My mom and sis are coming to visit in November. I need a new deck of cards. What should I ask them to bring? And love my natal chart, by the way. You know that. What kind of a deck of cards? Oh my God, there's so many. Do you want tarot or do you want oracle cards? Right? Because there's a lot of new different oracle cards that are out. I don't do oracle cards. I usually do tarot. I love like for tarot, my golden tarot. I love them. I do use fairy tarots. Fairy tarot is very nice. Those are really cool. The Avalon cards, oracle cards, yeah, by Colette Baron Reeds. Those are very nice. This is the Wisdom Oracle cards that I'm using right now. So we got all that glitter. So Rider-Waite, yes, I usually use a Rider-Waite because that's what I teach from too. So so this is about beyond superficial, seeing beyond superficial, seeing beyond the glitz and the glitter that's trying to distract you, looking more deeper within oneself and finding that within oneself, right? And then we have Observer. See? So a lot to do with looking, a lot to do with Sisters of Avalon. So a lot to do with observing, a lot to do with looking and watching, seeing what's around, not getting enthralled or involved in or overwhelmed with things, right? And as if we do that, then we can get a better idea of what's happening, and that we can sort of we won't absorb it all, right? Because you don't want to absorb it all. You want to be able to take what you can, so you can do the regeneration, so you can regenerate yourself. So, the roots are going deep for you to regenerate, for you to blossom, for you to glow. But in order to do that, you got to sit back and be the observer. And being the observer sometimes is not an easy, because you want the answers. Sometimes you want all the answers now. Give them to me now, but you don't get them now, right? And that's very, yeah, eyes wide open. It can be a real bitch sometimes. Just saying. So this is also about any opportunities that were dead can come up again. So know that with the observer, when you see things, there are other opportunities there for you, other information that comes in for you. It's the gold in the white box. I cannot remember the name. Ooh, I can't remember either. The gold and white box. Cool. From a comfortable distance. Yeah, from a comfortable distance until you get, because that regeneration is like get to the deeps, the depths, and yeah, like Costa Rica. So I'll go to Costa Rica right now, buy a motel, and we're all going to convert it. But it's looking at the changes that, the flow and the ebb that is coming in, and allowing ourselves to really take a look at it. That glitter sometimes, because the glitter can really get you where you can get lost, right? You can get lost in all the glitz and the glitter. A need to go beyond, a desire to don a new mask. So yeah, because you want to regenerate yourself, you want to be the observer, you want to put on something new, you want to be able to step into something new. So you have to be the observer to see what it is. Look at the other things that are coming in, and know that you have many different options. You don't have to go for the first one or two. And all glitter is not gold, that's for sure. Yeah, don't we know that? It's just like it's like going to here, I'm gonna date myself. Going to the bar, and at 2 o'clock in the morning you think it's a hunk, but it's not. You find that out later, like, might have looked good at that moment, but after a couple hours of sobering up, you're just like, what just happened? Ooh, African goddess cards. Those are beautiful. I saw those ones too. Those look like very nice cards as well. So yeah, I right now I got Colette Baron Reads. This is the original deck, but this is her name isn't on these cards anymore, but you can still get it. It's just Randall's name that is on these cards. These are nice cards as well. Beer goggles. They looked so lovely. Looks so lovely. So thanks everybody for joining me. It was great just connecting with everybody this evening, and onwards and upwards. That's what we got to do, one step in front of the other, and just take everything in stride. That's what we got to do. So sending you guys out so much blessings, and allow yourself to shine your light. Don't dim it, baby. Don't dim it. Right? So have a blessed one. Bye-bye. Enjoy. Anybody's having their wine or their beer or their rum or whatever, enjoy. Sit back, relax, and have a great one. Blessed be everybody. Bye-bye.